Hi, John Reinberg. This is for Dr. Bronson's Planning and Evaluation class at Lamar University. This is my video proposal. For my proposal, I decided to evaluate the effectiveness of the Uniform Standard of Dress policy that was instituted at Danville Public Schools in 2014. This program was instituted as a result of an increase in gang violence and other gang-related discipline problems in the schools. According to the new uniform guidelines, students must wear khaki, navy, gray, or black dress pants to be worn at the waist, and solid color collared shirts buttoned within two buttons from the top. No hooded sweatshirts are allowed under this policy, and this affects the Danville High School, which has approximately 1,600 students, and the two Danville middle schools, each of which have approximately 700 students enrolled. For the literature review, I found a surprising lack of large-scale studies on the effectiveness of programs of this type. However, I did find a University of Houston study from 2010, and that study compared students from schools requiring uniforms to students from non-uniform program schools within the city. And what they learned during that study was that following an adjustment period, which lasted approximately a year or so before the effects were really noted, they did find that disciplinary problems, gang visibility, and also bullying based on clothing style and socioeconomic factors was decreased. Excuse me. Another study in Long Beach, California, following their implementation of a similar program in 1994, they noticed an immediate decrease in assault and battery cases as well as gang-related problems amongst the students. In the first year of the implementation in Long Beach, assault and battery cases dropped by 34%, and physical fights between students were reduced by 51%. 32 fewer suspensions were also issued during that first year. Another school district in Albuquerque, New Mexico, instituted a program in 1998 at two middle schools. An evaluation based on the interviews and data comparisons in that school indicated a first-year improvement in student conduct for the previous year. According to the administrators, the uniforms ensure that all students are on an equal level. 75% of the parents and 89% of the school staff supported the program and its results in Albuquerque. Contrary to those findings, a study conducted by the University of Alabama and the University of Notre Dame concluded that uniforms had little impact on attendance, behavior, drug use, gang visibility, or academic achievement. The results of that study observed no relationship between wearing uniforms and desired behavioral changes. Aside from the University of Alabama and Notre Dame study, literature does suggest that uniform programs in many instances do have outcomes of reduced violence, gang-related and otherwise, and other disciplinary problems. Some arguments that are used against uniforms typically take the view that the uniforms stifle individual expression of the students. At that age, clothing is a primary means for people to express and communicate their personalities. Unfortunately, this also, especially here in the case of the Danville school that is in particular of this evaluation, is often used to communicate gang affiliation and as a root cause for violence and other disciplinary problems. And regarding self-expression, the Supreme Court has not addressed this issue. However, the lower courts have generally upheld dress codes. The methodology for this evaluation will be a non-experimental impact evaluation. This type of impact evaluation examines changes in outcomes among program participants. In the case of this evaluation, the participants are identified as all students enrolled in Danville High School and the middle schools. The variation of this design will be a before and after comparison. And these designs are based on measures of outcomes before and after program implementation. Due to the adjustment period noted in the University of Houston study. These before and after comparisons should be repeated over the course of several years to get a better picture of the overall outcome effect of the program. The before and after comparison will involve primarily quantitative methods, namely analyzing school records of disciplinary reports with a focus on those deemed to be gang-related. An overall analysis of all disciplinary records, however, should provide a more thorough analysis of the effect. The data will be observed from 2 years prior to implementation, 2012, which is when the dress code debate first began gaining momentum here in town because of an overwhelming gang problem at the high school and at the middle school levels. Aside from the data comparison, qualitative measures will also be implemented, namely in the form of questionnaires. Teachers being the primary source of observation in the school, and those that have been employed since prior to implementation of the program in 2014 will be issued questionnaires ranking their opinions from strongly disagree with a score of 5 down to strongly disagree with a score of 1. Upon collection of the questionnaires, results will be entered into a spreadsheet, results tabulated, and a table showing a degree of consensus or variation amongst the teachers' viewpoints. Questions along the questionnaire will involve such items as gang visibility has declined since implementation. Prior to 2014, there was pronounced gang visibility in the school. Classroom setting is more conducive to learning following implementation, and so forth. It is an 8-question questionnaire. The students, being the participants, would also be distributed a questionnaire with the same scoring degree, with the same scoring method and tabulation of results, and that would include their observations on their perceptions of gang visibility within the school, discipline problems and whether they have increased or decreased or had no effect, their overall impression of the atmosphere within the school being more conducive to learning, and if they've noticed any change in bullying other students based on their clothing choice. The analysis of the teacher and student surveys, coupled with the before and after data comparisons of the disciplinary records, an assessment of the outcome of the Uniform Standard of Dress program will be compiled. Causality will not necessarily be determined through this evaluation. However, the effectiveness of the program achieving its outcome goals may be inferred from the results. As I stated earlier, the before and after the collection of school disciplinary records should continue for several years to account for any adjustment period that was noted in the University of Houston study. And that concludes the data for the proposal for this class. Thank you.